Saturday Social is powered by EA Sports FIFA 23 with PlayStation.
Only one place to start. We're going to start with what's trending. We know the rules by now. The guests will get a minute to debate 5 of the biggest trending points from the world of social media related to football, of course. A lot of varied topics this week. So what have you chosen as the first one,
I think
Joe?
we've got to start with the title race, haven't we? Because the midweek game was absolutely monumental, of course.
Huge
Man City
game.
beating Arsenal. We can see what it meant for the table, that huge result at the Emirates. Man City leapfrogging Arsenal, 51 points. And look at the goal difference swing as well. Huge, 10 difference in goal difference now, which is massive at this stage of the season. So the question we're going to ask our guests is a very, very simple one. Off the back of such a big result at the Emirates, who will win the Premier League this season? 60 seconds on the clock. Flex.
Manchester United. Because look at Joe laughing straight away. It's not beyond the realms. It's not beyond the realms. No, I think having seen the events of Arsenal losing that points gap that was so strong, and how quickly they lost it, and they look very fragile at the moment, I'm going to swing back to Manchester City. Actually, for a while, I'm not going to lie. I've been supporting Arsenal to do it. I thought they were the real deal. I still think they'll push Manchester City all the way, but I feel now the momentum has shifted, and with Manchester City doing a sort of all us against the world situation, I think they're going to come strong.
I think, I said Spurs have had a bad week. Arsenal have had a shocker, and I just thank the Lord, right? because all season I've been waking up. The first thing I think about is, oh God, Arsenal are going to win the league. And this week is really sort of showing the fact that while Arsenal are playing exceptional football, and they continue to do, and were very good for large parts of that game against Man City, they're young. The squad depth is small, all right? So Man City are a different...
Flav's
He loves it,
He's
innit?
buzzing.
Joker.
He's buzzing.
His season's been that bad. He's got to make sure that they don't win it.
Right, we're going to move on. Trend 2. Big news this week, Southampton. Now, they came close to appointing Jesse Marsch this week. That was following on from the news of Nathan Jones passing, of course. But the move fell through, meaning that they've got interim boss Ruben Sellers in the dugout this weekend. Now, this is the latest. Southampton saying that they would be happy for interim boss Ruben Sellers to take charge until the end of the season. But they say the club will take their time before making any decisions. Apparently, members of the board have been at training this week and have been really impressed by the 39-year-old's dedication and detail in training. So a lot going on at Southampton this week. The next question we're asking is, who is the best candidate to keep Southampton in the Premier League? Tough one. 60 seconds on the clock. Flav.
I quite like Ruben Sellers. I think it's a good fit, and you'll be listening to him talk. He desperately wants that job, and it means he's going to be motivated. The other option, it would be someone like Benitez to come in. He came in when he was at Newcastle and saved them. But will he have the motivation to do that in the same way that Tellez has? And I just think having a motivated coach will really serve Southampton well. So I think they should stick with him.
So Sellers or Rafa Benitez?
Mine was Rafa Benitez. I think go and get him. I think he took the complete wrong job for all the wrong reasons at Everton. That's understandable. But I remember when he went into Newcastle and galvanised them, they were absolutely struggling. And he's got know-how, especially in this division as well. And I think he'll do a decent job. I remember doing a show a couple of appearances ago, and they said it was who should Southampton sign. And I said Sean Dyche at the time, and you said Nathan Jones only just got there. And it's crazy how things happen now. So for me, Rafa Benitez, I think he's got the best chance keeping him.
That's a really interesting shout, Rafa.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about that name. 2 very good candidates. Yeah. OK, let's move on to the next one, trend number 3 then, shall we? Because the Champions League returned midweek, in case you missed it. I don't know why you would have, but here are the scores from the first games in the round of 16. Of course, Milan beating Tottenham, as the boys have already talked about. Bayern beating PSG. Scott Parker's Bruges stumbling again against Benfica, and Dortmund beating Chelsea 1-0. Not a great week for the English clubs, was it, in Europe, really? None of them winning, I don't think. So let's talk about it. Who is going to win the Champions League this season? It's a very simple question. 60 seconds on the clock. Flav.
Reeks are Spurs. I think it's absolutely... It's not funny.
Honestly.
Why not?
You don't believe that.
Joking.
1 minute.
You don't believe that.
Why not? Why shouldn't
You're trying to convince yourself.
First off, I'm allowed to believe and say whatever I like. Right? And I shouldn't be what you are. You can't bring me on here and laugh at me for giving my...
Joe, you laugh.
You did laugh. But I think Napoli.
I didn't laugh.
If it ain't Spurs, I really love Napoli this season.
Wow. Interesting.
That's a decent shout, that, isn't it, Napoli? I think Man City will go far, but will inevitably just fall short, as per usual. I'm going to go for Real Madrid again.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I just think they're just so strong when it comes to those real championship minutes in games.
Heritage.
They just, they just find a way consistently to get it done. I think obviously Bayern Munich are going to be in there, PSG, etc. But I just think when it's all said and done and it comes to those crunch games, I think Real Madrid will be the ones to do it.
Real Madrid and Tottenham Hotspur, according to Flav. So
Interesting.
Or Napoli.
Or Napoli.
He means Napoli.
No, you bottled Tottenham and now you've gone to Napoli.
Yeah. That's your actual answer, Napoli.
Right, not going to agree on this one, I don't think. Moving on, this trend. I mean, this is VAR, Joe. How do we phrase this? Is it fair to say it wasn't the best week for VAR?
I mean, that's an understatement. I don't think we can actually say at 9 a.m. it can go live.
Well, it wasn't a great week. In fact, the PGMOL had to release a statement of apology. They said that human error caused significant errors in both the Arsenal and Brighton games, and that led to this, a statement on Lee Mason saying that the PGMOL can confirm that video assistant referee Lee Mason has departed the organisation by mutual consent. It goes on to wish him well for the future. So a lot going on with the PGMOL and with regards to VAR following the apology earlier in the week. So the next trend, tricky one as well to answer. I think this one, we're asking what change would you make to improve VAR? 60
How long
seconds.
we got? Oh, 60 seconds.
Well,
Flex.
I'm not, apart from just getting rid of it, because I think we want to have a discussion about how it stays, because to me, I'll just get rid of it.
Yeah.
That is my answer, really, honestly. I'm done with it. At the beginning, I tried to, see how it can work and et cetera, but it's just absolutely ruined the game. But in terms of a tangible sort of situation of what could help it, it's got to be competency. It has to be competency, because all the VAR does is replay the images. The rules need to be applied, and that's where humans come into it. And I just think that the competency levels are just not high enough. People don't know what they're doing. So for me, better training and potentially ex-pros on the VAR.
I agree, get rid of it. But if not, remove all offside decisions, so it can't be used for offsides unless it's massively and outrageously offside, like the toenails and fingers and arm and like that. If you cannot tell with the naked eye, then an offside shouldn't be given. It'd be so much more exciting. And if a decision can't be made in 30 seconds, then it stands with the on pitch.
They've got a timer.
You've got a timer.
Countdown clock going like that.
You've got 5 seconds. He's onside. We only have 30 seconds.
Yeah, because essentially they just get the game going again.
Okay, two very interesting shouts there, I think. Our fifth and final trend then, Marcus Rashford. Oh my
What a
goodness
season
me.
he's having.
What a second half of the season in particular. But yeah, 22 goals, 7 assists in 35 competitions. But since the World Cup, he's got 14 goals in 16 games. The second highest in Europe, Ben Yedder, has 9. So the question we're going to ask our guests, very simple. Right now, is Marcus Rashford the most informed player in Europe? Flex, you're a United fan.
Marcus Rashford is the best player in the world right now. He is. You can argue whether will he continue to have seasons like this so he can be called out-and-out world-class, etc. That's another debate. As of today, he is the most informed player in the world. He is the most frightening player in the world, of course, alongside Mbappe, etc. But there is no other player in world football in Europe. Forget age. I'm talking about no other player in Europe now currently doing what he's doing at the consistency and the rate of which he's doing it at.
Flav, do you agree?
Yeah. It's hard to disagree. I was trying to think of something I could say that would. He's on fire. The kid is on fire, and I do think that there's a lot of being made just because he's a Man United player. Like, how many times have we talked about Kane being the best player? Never. But is he the best player in the world? Have you ever had that conversation on here?
We've had multiple times. Is Kane the best striker in the world?
And was the answer yes?
Kane's in the conversation.
Definitely been in the conversation.
Definitely been in the conversation.
I think Kane gets
I
his
just
fair
think
dues.
there's a lot of favour. If he was playing for Brighton, we wouldn't be having this conversation, is what I'm saying.
If a Brighton player had scored 14 goals in 16 games...
You wouldn't be saying he's the best in Europe.
conversation.
You wouldn't be talking about him being best in Europe. You say, is he the best in the league, maybe? But because he plays for Man United, there's a bias.
It's because he's just gone to the new camp and done that in front of 90,000 and kept him silent. That's why.
Speaking of Brighton, if Brighton fans are watching, I'm a big fan of Matoma. I really like Matoma.
I wanted to say Solly Marsh has gone under the radar. Everything good that happens at Brighton.
You're putting Solly Marsh up there.
You can't call it because he plays for Brighton. You can't talk about him in that.
Solly March has had a great season.
Yeah,
One of the most informed players in the league, Solly March.
Well, if you want to look across the whole season, Kieran Trippier is rated as the best player in the league.
Great. He's had a very good season, Divulging a little bit.